Nothing like playoff basketball at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. After a comfortable win in Game 1, you knew the Pacers would get a determined effort from the Bucks in Game 2. But a really good start and an outstanding finish in the final 2.5 minutes propels the Pacers to a 2-0 lead in this best-of-7 series. Siakam, Nembhard, big three-pointers late. Crowd going crazy. The series shifts to Milwaukee with the Pacers leading 2-0. You're watching the Andy Moore Automotive Pacers live postgame show on a beautiful Tuesday night, downtown Indianapolis. 17,274 fans watching a 123-115 Pacers win over the Bucks. They were all waving those City Edition rally towels. It is not often you have a wire-to-wire win that you could call hard-fought, but that is exactly what you saw. And so often you hear Rick Carlisle mention the importance of getting off to good starts, and really the start is what propelled this team to the win. They were up 8 at halftime, and they win the game by 8. Eddie Gilazar, Andy Moore Automotive Pacers Live post-game show analyst.
You transition to Andrew Nembhard. He's turning into a big shot maker in the latter part of these games. And really throughout this possession, I'm thinking to myself, stop going after Giannis Antetokounmpo because he is the best defender on the floor for the Bucks. But Andrew Nembhard thinks otherwise. He does a great job of attacking him here. And these are the physical drives that he's been able to make at a very consistent basis. You see him consider what's going on in the shot clock. He looks at it quickly, looks at Pascal Siakam. He's able to look off the defense and puts Giannis Antetokounmpo to sleep just enough to get himself enough space for that big-time step-back three-point shot. He has a silent arrogance and cockiness about him that I absolutely love. I love what he gets done on the defense end of the floor, and he is not afraid of the moment at the end of these games.
The Pacers, again, a balanced effort, but their starters did the heavy lifting in this game. You see all 5 starters in double figures, all 5 starters between 15 and 24 points, and they did this despite another Herculean effort from Giannis and Portis, who combined for 62.
And, JJ, the real story, too, is the Pacers have been consistent with fast starts in each of the first 2 wins.
Yeah, I think the Pacers are becoming more proficient with their offense. Getting the 40 points, if you will, in the playoff situation is what is a good thing. But when Tyrese efficient with their offense, getting the 40 points, if you will, in the playoff situation is what is a good thing. But when Tyrese is getting downhill, and that's really the key, to get downhill and they have to collapse, he gets his shooters wide open shots. And this Pacer team loves to knock down the 3 ball, and I think that's really important. But the thing that I'm starting to see with Ty, he's a little bit stronger than he was, I think, early in the year. He can take more hits, find ways to get to the bucket. But the fact that he can get to the bucket allows him to have the ability to kick it outside to the shooters.
8 turnovers in each of the first 2 games for the Pacers. They did those little things, taking care of the ball. Indiana holds serve. They win games 1 and 2 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Plenty more on the Andy Moore postgame show.
You won't see any of these in the highlights, but the Pacers were 19 for 19 from the free throw line. Milwaukee, 13 for 19. You can do the math. Free throws, a big difference in this game. Take a look at the highlights now. And Christian Airy mentioned, and I started the show by saying it was a really good start for the Pacers, and that was important in this game to grab the upper hand early. They were getting out and running in that first quarter.
Listen, there were times in the season where we couldn't say that. And 2 games so far, 2 very good starts to the game. Ended in great results.
You saw that Pascal Siakam. How about Obi Toppin, the alley-oop, bringing the energy off the bench? Pacers, a 40-point first quarter, highest scoring quarter in playoff history, continuing to run. In the second quarter, that's Benedict Matherin forcing Milwaukee to stop, take a timeout, and regroup. Tyrese Haliburton bounced back effort in that scoring department as he finished the game with 21 points. Pacers had an 8-point lead at halftime. Did you like where things were at halftime?
I did. I thought they put together a solid half. And you knew that Milwaukee Bucks would come out with a better effort here tonight.
So we go ahead to the third quarter. Again, the Pacers start the third quarter strong. Andrew Nembhard, you cannot give that man that much time to size it up, especially when the stakes are high like they are right now. But the Bucks, how about Kevin Porter Jr.? Pascal Siakam had just hit a big shot. KPJ beats the buzzer. It's only a 12-point advantage. headed to the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, we had a lot of action. Early on, good Pacers. How about that Turner step back?
Yeah, big shot there by Miles Turner. I thought he played really well throughout the game. You referenced the starters getting great contributions throughout the lineup.
Tyrese Haliburton passes up a good shot for a great shot. Obi Toppin in the corner. At that point, I felt pretty confident the Pacers would pull away, but second chance opportunities hurt the Pacers. The Bucks get one here. Bobby Portis Jr. Second chance three. It's 115-110. And then look at this. Kuzma. Second chance opportunity. Someone you do not want to have a shot, even though it's near the logo. It's Damian Lillard. It's only 115-113 at that point.
Listen, that's a routine shot for him, and he was able to knock that down, and you're really not feeling great from a Pacers perspective. But then Andrew Nembhard does a terrific job of drawing defenders, kicks it to Siakam for that big-time three, and we talked about this in the open here. The next one, it was Andrew Nembhard. He's able to look the defense off here, and what a shot, and just the calm confidence that he has to take these shots on a regular basis, and he's knocking them in.
Often three-pointers are created by good ball movement, but that's just good playmaking from Andrew Nembhard as he hit that big shot. Indiana Members Credit Union with the final stats. Again, a lot of similar numbers. You need to be concerned a little bit about the Bucks crashing the glass a little more than they're used to. But again, another key, you force 16 turnovers, you have 15 points off of those, and you yourself took care of the basketball.
Yeah, another game here for the Pacers in which they take care of the basketball in a major way. Only 8 turnovers throughout the entire game.
I'm guessing Rick Carlisle will already be looking ahead to Game 3 and the importance of staying focused. Let's hear what he has to say in the press conference.
We were fortunate tonight. We slowed down in the fourth quarter, and we got into a lot of isolation stuff instead of moving the ball the way we're capable. And so, credit Milwaukee for, a switching defense that got us up against the clock. And so we're going to have to do better there. Look, we know we can score points, but there's a lot more to this than just scoring points. Look, Giannis and Lillard are two, forces of nature out there. And, we just got to find a way to do a better job, and try to limit Giannis a little bit more. When he just gets in there and just dunks the ball, it's tough. And Lillard had an amazing game considering the circumstances. And so, but I credit our guys a lot. Down the stretch, they threw a hellacious punch to get it to 2. Pascal hit as big a shot as you're ever going to see in the playoffs on the right wing. We were able to survive. And so, the building was as loud as I've ever heard it. And, I've been in here for the finals games in 2000 and a lot of conference finals games, and it's never been louder than it was tonight. So a big thank you to our fans, because that really helps us.
Have that reality last year. How do you have to coach differently, or what's important to you for your team in that scenario going forward?
What scenario?
Being up 2-0 for the first time with this group.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to analyze every last little thing, just for the sake of analyzing it. I mean, we got to look at the next game. And we did some very good things to win the game. And look, it's a 48-minute game, and a lot of the stuff that happens in the first quarter really matters. It really matters. And so the rebounding needs to be better. That's certainly one thing. I think our recognition offensively can be better. At times we slowed down when we needed to be playing faster. And look, Game 3 in Milwaukee is going to be one of the tougher environments you're ever going to see in an NBA playoff game, and we'll need to be prepared for that as well.
You mentioned the shot that Pascal hit. Obviously, Andrew hits another one on top of that. Just how big was it for him to come through the way that he did, but also the defense you got from him, largely taking on the assignment of taking on Dame for this game. What would you like about just what you got from him across the board?
Yeah, I mean, Nembhard is a terrific competitor, and the bigger the challenge, the more he loves the opportunity to rise to the challenge. Again, we put him in a tough spot. on the step back he hit on Giannis. I mean, it wasn't a good possession. He got stuck with the ball with 6 or 7 seconds and manufactured, a big time shot, which we obviously really needed. So we want to avoid those situations whenever we can. But good teams like Milwaukee are going to put you in some tough spots. And, in those situations, you need somebody that can make a play. And he did. And, it was a very big moment.
No, obviously you've come to expect this from Pascal, but I mean, he's certainly giving you the sturdy, I guess, play that you've expected, in the first couple games of this. Just how important is he, and how, I guess, fitting is it that he hits the shot that you absolutely need to have there?
Yeah, he's been our rock really all year, from start to finish. He's been so consistent, and he has the experience. The game is it slows down for him. He's never in a hurry, unless he needs to be. And he, in most cases, he's the one that decides. So, that was a very, very big play. And then, he had a lot of other big plays. I mean, the guy goes 8 for 16 for 24 points. And I can think of a couple other drives where, I thought there was contact and there was no whistle, but he still finished it, and they're just big plays. So, there's a lot of great players in this series. He's one of them.
Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle giving a shout out to the fans. The fans were ready in that first quarter, and they saw the Pacers score a franchise high 40 points in that quarter in a playoff game. They shot 59%. Eddie, they had 11 assists on their 13 made field goals.
Listen, a lot to be said about confidence and building momentum during the course of a game. And if you're able to jump out to a fast start against this caliber of team, you feel good about your chances, and you're able to put 40 points on the board, franchise record in the playoffs. It's obviously a terrific start.
Now let's hear the Milwaukee side of things with Doc Rivers.
Doc, they go up 8-0, never trail.
Yeah.
2 games in a row where, they shoot 70% early in the first quarter. Just, again, kind of a slow start.
We've gotten off to 2 poor starts, and we got to make an adjustment there for sure. Turnovers. I think the difference of the game was the turnover game. I think they outscored us by 10. We lose by 8. A lot of unforced turnovers. I liked how we played tonight overall. Shot almost 51% and should have shot the ball better. Could have moved the ball even better. So I like where we're tracking.
I guess just in general, to fall down 2-0. I mean, in a short series now at this point. So I
look at it as a long series. We haven't played a home game. Yeah, so it's almost like we're 2-8, and someone said, no one makes the playoffs when they're 2-8, but it's the same thing to me, right? We have to go home and take care of business, and then we can talk.
What do you feel like the issue has been for that starting unit?
I think defensively, just getting beat off the dribble, and it's everyone, So, and then I thought that unit did score, but we couldn't get a stop. And then that unit also had those 4 turnovers to start the game. I thought we forced a lot of stuff there. So I haven't watched the film. I'm going to go back and look at it. But there's changes we can make, and there's things we can do.
It feels like the other night Ryan was able to contain Haliburton a little bit off the dribble, from going all the way to the rim.
Yeah.
Different tonight. Just what did you see there?
Yeah, I thought we switched some, and he had Brooke a couple of times on him, which obviously he's going to do that. But he beat our guards too off the dribble. We didn't contain the ball much at all tonight. I thought defensively, other than our start, it was our inability to contain the ball off the dribble. I mean, they ran, I want to say 4 timeouts. The play was to get it in and just attack. There was no play to it because they believe they have guys that can beat our guys off the dribble, so we have to do a better job.
I know we talked about this being Scoot's first playoff series before the series started. What have you felt like?
He's got to keep his composure, and he will. I mean, he's never been in one. I thought the other night, the second stint, he was really good. I thought today he was pressing, was trying to do too much. But he'll be fine. Scoop's going to be fine for us.
That is Doc Rivers. Eddie, we're going to see a compilation of plays. Guys falling to the ground, a little bit of pushing and shoving. Is this playoff basketball
at its finest. And also you add on a layer of the fact that these two teams have seen each other so much over the last couple of seasons. They've had their different run-ins during the regular season and also the playoffs. So this will continue to happen throughout the entire series. I anticipate teams competing at a high level. I don't necessarily see some dirty playing out there, but certainly going to compete at a high level and want to dismantle the other team.
What was the word you used prior to game one? Controlled aggression. Controlled aggression. So James Johnson's words in the huddles were calm aggression. So controlled aggression, pretty similar to that.
Certainly. Right in the same line, and just understand the moment and continue to stay aggressive.
When the Pacers earn the right to talk after the first two games, series shifts to Milwaukee. Much more still to come. Time for tonight's Master Jewelers defensive gem. Nice interstitial there, seeing a number of Pacers, because this is a team effort. This is a hustle effort. A lot of guys with a ring on their finger, a gem on this play.
Now, JJ, I'll preface my comment with I'm a little bit biased. However, this is why I think basketball is the greatest game in all of sports, because you have to get from one play to the next, to the next, to the next in order to be successful. And that's what this is about, a complete team effort, hustling down the floor to be able to react, contest the shot, rebound the shot. Miles Turner comes in, blocks a putback attempt. Then they be able to retrieve the rebound by Nesmith, get out on the other end of the floor, and try to come up with the basket.
And we have already talked a lot about Andrew Nembhard. It is time to hear from him. He's talking with our Pat Boylan.
Jeremiah, thank you. Damian hits that three late. They cut it to a one-possession game. I think you got Pascal for an assist on a three and then hit your own. Can you take me through what was going through your mind in that moment? Because it kind of felt like you looked at that as your moment to maybe not take over, but make your impact on the game.
Yeah, I just wanted to be aggressive. I didn't want to second-guess myself down the stretch. And there's a couple plays that got stagnant where I feel like I probably should have punched the gaps or something like that. So I learned from my mistakes earlier to kind of be a little more aggressive in that spot.
Can you take me through your battles with Damian Lillard and where you feel like you had some success tonight?
Man, tough matchup. Can shoot from deep. I try to make every shot tough. He made a lot of step backs, a lot of tough shots at the rim. So just got to stay attached and try to be as much of a pest as possible.
Along those lines, how much are you enjoying the mental game of this, maybe with players on the floor, perhaps some on the bench?
I love to compete, man. It's a big environment. The intensity is high. So it's just fun out there. It's coming out natural.
You guys have spent a lot of time in practice on free throws. 19 of 19 tonight. Is that a byproduct of that practice paying off? You needed all of them.
Yeah. I don't know if the practice or not did it, but we were locked in. That's pretty tough.
$1 million question, of course, is you guys have played so well here. How do you translate this high level of play to Milwaukee for Game 3 on Friday?
I think we got to bring the same mentality, be the underdogs, the fighters, make them play our game, be dogs out there.
17 points, 6 assists, some good defense tonight for Andrew Nembhard, JJ.
His spots to score, be aggressive, make a tremendous impact on the game, and get it done at an efficient level. Another night where he's 50% from the floor, double-double. He's been able to lead the team in rebounding. And also, not only just the defensive rebound, does a great job of getting on his offensive glass and giving his teammates extra opportunities.
And he did play 34 minutes, but give Rick Carlisle credit, keeping him on the bench till about that 4-minute mark, so he had that energy. The lift, maybe, to make that late three-pointer.
Listen, there's no secret. Rick Carlisle's a guy who's been here, done that in this position, so he knows all the right buttons to push in terms of the rotations.
2 career playoff games for Benedict Matherin in double figures in both. Had 14 tonight and earns a post-game interview with Pat Boylan.
Jeremiah, thank you. For so long, this game felt like thrive, and then maybe at the end a little bit of survive, whether it was the moments you were on the floor or on the bench. I mean, what did you see in those waning moments that allowed you guys to pull it out here?
Great experience. Just being able to stay poised and win the game. It don't really matter if you win by 15 or if you win by 1 in the playoffs. A win is a win. So it was amazing to witness.
You guys have trailed for less than 2 minutes in the 2 games total. What have you seen from a consistency standpoint and a high level of constant play?
Just a mindset that the game is not over till the horn blows. So It's all about staying focused and taking care of business.
How happy are you personally with your ability to make an impact, come off the bench, and be impactful here in your first playoff games?
Just going out there and doing anything I can do to help my team win. Just going out there playing hard. And
I know sometimes it's tough to answer questions about making free throws, but you hit 5 of them. The team didn't miss one today. I mean, just how pivotal is something like that in a close series where the margins are so tight?
It's very, very important, to make free throws. So, sometimes it's tough because you lose a game by 5, but you miss 7 free throws. The game would have been different if you hit them free throws. And, we call them free throws for a reason. They're free, so might as well make them.
The series is getting intense, maybe a little fierce. What has been the key so far to remaining poised, standing your ground, but as a team not going over the edge?
We all have a goal. The goal is to win a championship. So, we go day by day, game by game, and we don't get too high, we don't get too low, and I feel like that's the main key for us to be able to go where we want to go.
Along those lines, how do you make what's working here travel? How do you bring it to Milwaukee?
We revisit what worked in this game, and we do the same thing in the next game.
All right, 14 points for Benedict Matherin tonight in the Pacers Game 2 win, JJ.
Great work inside that Pacers locker room from Pat Boylan, and he brought up the free throws. Someone that you like to have the ball when you need a crucial free throw is Aaron Nesmith. He had a couple late in the fourth quarter. He had 16 points, also helped guard Giannis as the Pacers beat the Bucks by 8. Do not go anywhere. Happy ending in Game 2 for the Pacers tonight against Milwaukee, and you knew the Bucks would be better offensively with Damian Lillard returning. Missed the last 14 games of the regular season, did not play on Saturday, but you also knew there would be a little bit of a weakness on the other end of the floor. You could attack him and whoever he was guarding.
Well, we talked about this also in the pregame. This was one of the keys of being able to check his conditioning and see where it was at. Give him credit. He was out there for 37 minutes, and to Rick Carlisle's point, was solid offensively. But you have to continue to put him in action just to test his conditioning, his lateral movement, and how much he is going to, or how much energy he's going to expend on that end of the floor, knowing how important he is on the offensive end for this team.
Yeah, so the Pacers, Lillard played more than I expected him to, but even when he gets his conditioning, he's not an elite defender. You can still do this.
Yeah, certainly more. You want to continue to keep him in those actions. I talked about the ability and the importance of keeping Brook Lopez in the action.
Speaking of Milwaukee and Damian Lillard, his post-game press conference right now.
I felt pretty good, given the fact that I haven't played in so long, jumping back into a playoff game. I would say I felt pretty good.
Doc said he felt like, we were just going to kind of blow it out at the end. Like, I know Dame was probably exhausted, but let's try to get through it. He's got 2 days to recover. Yeah. Did it feel that way for you? Like, legs getting tired? I know you still hit a big 3 late, but I guess just that last stretch, how did that feel?
I felt pretty solid. I got a little bit winded, but I think, everybody was a little winded. It was a long stretch. I mean, we cut the lead to 2. We could have very well stole that game. We was in position to do it. But it's all mental. It's a mental battle. Just the competition, pushing through, being disciplined, being able to do what needs to be done down the stretch of the game. So I think that's what Doc meant. And for me, I wasn't really thinking about, I'm tired or any of those things. It was just like, I'm out here and I'm gonna do what I got to do.
Understanding you didn't play in Game 1, but second game in a row, slow starts, both sides of the ball, I guess. I get that the deficits were cut a couple times, but to just have to chase this team for 48 minutes, I think the Bucks have led like 2 minutes of this first 2 games. How difficult has that been, and how important is it to maybe find that early switch in Game 3?
Yeah, we gotta start games better. I think we didn't start the first quarter well, and we didn't start the third quarter well. So we got to start off better. Our attention to detail has to be better in our coverages and what we're doing, our communication. Offensively, we got to come out and have better pace and execute better, understand what we're supposed to be doing based on how we're being defended, knowing why we're doing what we're doing offensively, and, taking advantage of their scouting report on our offense. And you watch film and it's there. A lot of the stuff that we talk about and the things that we drill is there. It's just a matter of being in a place where you are playing the game for that, being able to play hard and play smart at the same time. And a lot of times I think that's what's kind of putting us in a bad situation. But they've played well. They play well on their home floor. We got to be better to start the first quarter, to start the third quarter, and stop playing from behind. And if we can play how we play when we've gotten back into these games from the beginning, which is hard, I think it would look different. But we haven't. So they protected their home floor, and we got to continue to push and watch film and see what we're not doing well enough, and fix those things. And I think we will be in a much different position.
Is it?
14 points for Damian Lillard. Time now for the Menards big money shot of the game. One of those plays that gets the crowd on its feet. You can't lose track of Obi Toppin if you're the Bucks defense.
Well, this is a great situation here where Miles Turner ducks in and everyone's looking at him to receive a post up. Damian Lillard's ball watching there. He goes back door, throws that to the rim. You know what the finish is going to be there by Obi Toppin.
Obi Toppin with a big three-pointer in the fourth quarter had that. Menards big money shot of the game, 7 points for Obi Toppin. Back down to the post-game press conference. Now the Pacers' perspective. Let's hear from Tyrese Haliburton.
Yeah, I think just over the course of the season, we see every coverage. We see some teams that play a drop, some teams at the level, some teams switch. Everybody does something a little different, especially in our conference. You look down the line at teams in our conference, everybody plays you a little different. So I feel like we're prepared. We had a good week of prep. We know we're going to see some man out there, some drop with Brooke, switching with Bobby, some zone. We're prepared, and I feel like we've done a great job of adjusting to whatever's being thrown at us.
You some shots in the first game, 21 points tonight. What did you feel like you did better today than in game one?
Just getting in the paint, being aggressive from the start of the game. I thought I got a lot of good looks last game. They just didn't fall. So it gave me confidence coming into today that, I would make shots. Got a good couple of days of work in and felt good coming in today. So, it's a good win for us.
You've told us before, you're 2 online. Did you see the anonymous player poll that came out today?
I did.
What was your reaction to that, and did it at all impact the way you played today?
It didn't impact the way I played today at all. I must be doing something right, if that's the case. I don't have a big speech or comment on it. I mean, all I care about is this locker room and winning games, and we're in position to go to Milwaukee and continue this series on. So not too worried about that. I know I am. I'm confident in my own skin and not worried about what anybody thinks. My teammates trust me. So does my front office, my coaching staff. So I'm good. I could care less.
Obviously, they come back to within 2 points in the last 2 minutes. You get 2 big shots from Pascal and Drew. Obviously, those guys have been kind of sturdy players you've been able to rely on. Just how big were those 2 shots, and how much does it say about those 2 guys and the kind of competitors they are?
Yeah, I think we got a lot of good looks down the stretch, a ton. I missed a wide open one. I think Pete missed a wide open one. Miles missed a wide open one. Drew missed a couple. We missed a lot of good looks. But I feel like down the stretch we haven't. Me specifically, I haven't been great down the stretch these last 2 games, but I feel like Drew did a great job of settling us down, making some big, timely shots for us, Pascal as well. So I thought we had a lot of different guys chip in today, make big plays. I thought Obi made a big shot in the corner there in the fourth as well. We had a lot of different guys step up. So, I think that's just a part of our resilience and a part of, the last month or 2 playing in some crazy-ass games and having to win in many different ways. So it's about just figuring it out. We're up 2-0, so, we'll take it.
Pascal is obviously the guy you had to rely on the first 2 games last year. He's given you not quite those level of numbers, but, sort of close to it in the first 2 games, also giving you some, as good of defense as you could, I guess, ask for against Giannis. What's just impressed you about what he's done? I guess how much does he continue to be a sturdy rock for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, this is who Pascal Siakam is. He's been a steady presence for us all year. So glad that he's on our team. I think he could be the most underrated player in the NBA, to be honest with you. I mean, I think what he does is on a nightly basis amazing. He's so consistent, so steady. Does a great job of calming us down, me down specifically at certain times. And, I just am really appreciative of him kind of playing that big bro, mentor role for our group and us as a young group. And I feel like, him having played in big games like this, he knows what to expect. And, I think that's why, we've had success these last 2 years in the playoffs. He's a big reason why.
Tyrese Haliburton after the Pacers' 8-point win against the Bucks. The Pacers got off to a good start in the first quarter and third quarter. What was similar? Aaron Nesmith, 3-pointers to start the quarters. His odds were plus 950 to score the first basket of this game. So you get nearly 10-1 odds on that. Now, time for the FanDuel same game parlay player props. We showed you Tyrese Haliburton, double-digit assists, had 12 tonight.
Yeah, it's the timeliness of his passing and where he's able to put the ball for his teammates to catch it and shoot it, whether it's at the rim or at the three-point line. He just does a terrific job there.
You heard from Benedict Matherin. Again, he hit double figures once again. We showed an over-under of 13.5 points, and what do you know? Finishes with 14, 5 for 5 from the free throw line. So check on this one, Benedict Matherin.
Yeah, he comes out very aggressive again, coming off the bench, does a 4 for 10 from the field. But again, being able to get to the free throw line and knocking those down at a high clip.
I admit, thought this was a little risky. Damian Lillard, the over-under was posted at 17.5. We were not sure how much he would play. If you'd have told me he would have played 37 minutes, I'm guessing I figured he would add more than 14. Other games tonight, 2 other playoff games. The Thunder also go up 2-0 in their best-of-7 series. Another comfortable win against the Grizzlies. And look at that. The Lakers, Eddie, look like they're in bounce-back mode tonight against the Timberwolves.
Yeah, not a great performance in Game 1 at home. And they definitely want to be able to bounce back prior to going back to Minnesota. Thinking about the Milwaukee Bucks fans watching this game, can't wait to get this game back in Milwaukee on that Friday so they can come in and be able to impose their will on the game and support their team. It's going to be a great environment. The feistiness for both teams, the chippiness will certainly continue to not necessarily escalate, but probably continue at the level that it's been.
Some fans will travel to Milwaukee, so there will be a little blue and gold at Fiserv Forum, but you will have to defeat the Bucks and their fans this weekend. But you are in the best position possible, headed to Milwaukee, up 2-0. And as Chris Denary mentioned, the Pacers have never lost a playoff series when they start with a 2-0 lead. They'll hope that continues, and who knows? We might be back here next Tuesday. Maybe we might not, but we will be in Milwaukee this weekend. Game 3 on Friday night. We hope you join us then. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you from Fiserv Forum on Friday.